Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Elsa.
And I'm Julie.
And greetings from LUCKYTOWN. Welcome back to this week's podcast. As you can see, we're in a much more special setting than normal. And that's because this week we're doing our big Halloween blowout special. By candlelight. This setting has me talking in like a really calm voice. Like, I don't think I'm going to be screaming.
You're right.
Well, I might be screaming, but later. So today for our big blowout special, we're going to be talking about our local urban legends, kind of. Okay, so mine is from Virginia, or I'm from Virginia, and my legend is from West Virginia.
Okay.
And then,
I'm from New Jersey, and my legend is also from New Jersey. Mm-hmm. It's in, like, the same relative area that I live in.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any accounts or friends' accounts of the story, I'm gonna say, but you do.
Not really. Not
your brother.
He didn't. No,
kind
he didn't.
of.
Not really. There's just, like, some kind of local rumor. But I can't.
Yes.
There's no, like... I don't know anyone who is old enough to have experienced it.
Okay. This is the clowns all over again.
This is the clowns all over again. Nothing really happened, but we're pretending it did.
So I guess I will start then, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm excited.
Also, the day that we're filming this, it's Hallows Eve. And tomorrow is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You can't see, but I'm dressed up as Shrek.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm really just gonna be winging it, like last time. So for me, the story that I'm gonna be talking about today is the Mothman of West Virginia, which both of us have heard of before. I remember like 2 years ago or something, BuzzFeed did an episode. BuzzFeed Unsolved. And that's how I first heard about the Mothman. Mm-hmm. And I was really excited because I was like, West Virginia? We got something spooky near us? So I'm just going to start. Now this, like, it's kind of a roller coaster ride. There's a lot more to it than I thought of. Okay. It's much more than just, like, this one, like, alleged creature.
There's more?
There's a lot more. Involving the town and just everybody. So, to get started with the origins, there's 2 stories that kind of mark the beginning of Mothman and his sightings. And this takes place in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is a really small, charming town. So to set the scene, it's November 12th, 1966. And a group of 5 men are in a cemetery and they're digging a grave, which is really fitting. Mm-hmm. And they're digging this grave, and then all of a sudden, over their heads, they see what they describe, in their own words, as a brown human being.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
I have no idea. And it's weird because I couldn't find, like, that's the story. Like, that's the first story. Like, I couldn't find any newspaper articles or anything, like, elaborating on it. So they just say we saw this brown human being with wings fly over us out of, like, a grove of trees.
Wow.
And that's basically it. So that's technically the first account of Mothman, but 3 days later is when the much more memorable story happens. So it's November 15th, also in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette, are going for a drive together in Roger Scarberry's car near what is known as the TNT area, near the outskirts of town.
Wait, what does that mean?
So it's called the TNT area because during World War II, it functioned as a manufacturing plant for explosives.
I feel like that sets the scene.
Exactly.
Like, it's scary.
It really does. So, it's basically just an open area with fields and some forests, and then just abandoned factories, or like decommissioned factories. And there's a very secretive history to it that I will get into later.
Okay.
So, Anyways, the couples, they're driving down this road, just going for a nice night drive. And then they're basically going down this small, normal 2-lane road. And in this TNT area, it's basically just like a drag strip. Like, it's just like a long, straight, tiny road. Mm-hmm. And so they're just driving down it. And then all of a sudden, they're driving, and in front of their car, they see this 6 to 7 foot tall creature with glowing red eyes and what looked to be about a 10-foot wingspan, just standing in the middle of the road.
Ew!
And
6 or 7 feet?
6 to 7 feet tall. It's described as being just slightly larger than like a large man. But it's black and they can't see its face. They can only see its wings that look kind of feathery and then its glowing red eyes.
Ew.
And so then as they approach, like, they start to be able to make it out a little more, but the headlights of their car scare it off. And it kind of just... They describe it as kind of like scuttling into the nearby field.
Scuttling?
Mm-hmm. And so they keep driving and they're really shook up and they kind of pick up their pace a little bit when a little bit later it starts following them. So the two ladies, they look in the rearview mirror and they see the 2 glowing red eyes again. And this time it's following their car.
It's flying?
It's flying this time. And so Roger Scarborough, who's driving his car, he picks up speed and he claims later that he was driving over 100 miles an hour and this creature still keeps pace with their car, following them the whole time. And then eventually, as they near the more populated area of town, he just kind of gives up and he stops chasing them. And they describe seeing him kind of like stop and kind of just like hobble into this nearby field. And they said that it looked like he was not really as agile on his feet. It's really only while he's flying that he can go extremely fast. And so after this happens, they kind of arrive back in town and they're like, what the hell just happened? Mm-hmm. And they really thought they were going crazy. And so what they do is they actually go back to the scene where it happened.
They tried to go back?
They went back, which I feel like nobody would really do that, you know? They'd be like, enough is enough. Like, I'm good. But so they go back just because they want to validate what they saw. And when they go back, they see him again. And this time they see him again, kind of like hobbling in like a dark field, kind of headed towards one of the abandoned factories. And so later that night, or the next morning technically at 2 a.m., they go to the police station to report what they saw. And so according to them, the 4 people, what the police did is they separated all of them individually into their own rooms and just had them write down and completely like recount what happened that night. And all 4 of their stories matched up perfectly. Which I don't even know, because like at the time, like it seems completely absurd and like it doesn't really make sense for this town to believe these youth, you know, that were driving at night. And it's like, oh, what were you doing out at night? Like, can we really even trust you? But all 4 of their stories matched up. And I don't really know how they would have coordinated that. Like, when they would have had enough time alone to do that. And also, apparently the police officer that took the report knew all of them personally. Like,
knew they wouldn't.
Yeah, because it's a small town and, like, everybody knows everybody. Mm-hmm. So, the next morning is when the local newspaper, it is called what is it called? Give me a second. Wow, why can't I find it? The Point Pleasant Register. And the headline is, couple sees man-sized bird, creature, something. Something. Which is really funny. And so in the interview for this article, Roger Scarborough, who was driving, he says, if I had seen it by myself, I wouldn't have said anything, but there were 4 of us who saw it. And in that same article, it also says, they speculated that this creature lived in the vacant power plant of the TNT area, possibly in one of the huge boilers. There are pigeons in all of the other buildings, but not in that one. I don't really know how they would know that, but... So after this first case and this first interaction with Mothman is when a lot of other first-hand accounts start happening in the county. So I watched a little documentary on YouTube, and there's this man by the name of Denny Bellamy, and he's the Mason County Visitors Bureau Executive Director. And he's been living in Point Pleasant for over 60 years. Mm-hmm. So at the time, he recalls being in 3rd grade, and he remembers all of, like, his neighbors and friends had their own Mothman stories, and they were saying, like, yeah, have you seen, like, this 7-foot-tall bird-like creature is terrorizing people down by the TNT area? And he remembers at the time how upset, like, Roger Scarborough was, and apparently he said that he had scratch marks on top of his car and stuff like that. I couldn't find any other source that said that, but that's what he remembers. So basically, the following year after this first account, in 1966, is when over 100 eyewitness accounts of Mothman are reported in this area.
100?
Like a huge spike of first-hand accounts. And all of them agreed on the same points. Like, it's this 7-foot-tall creature with glowing red eyes, and he flies at really high speeds. And it kind of, like, this spike in sightings got so extreme that it was to the point where either everyone in town had their own account or everybody knew someone who did. And in the same documentary, it kind of mentions that possibly this was a case of mass hysteria because...
it, like, spread.
Exactly.
Like the clowns.
Exactly, like the clowns. Because, you know, it's such a small town with such a small social circle that news like this would travel really fast. And then, like, it would have more potential to be exaggerated, kind of. So it got real crazy. So back to the TNT area. So this same guy, Queen Denny, he said that the TNT area was a top secret government facility where they made explosives for the atomic bomb. And it employed a ton of people from the town, from Point Pleasant. So he said that people who worked there every day, they would be transported on a bus with all of the windows blacked out, so they couldn't see the location of the area where they were working. And so every day, you would get on this bus, they would drop you off, you'd do your shift, and you'd get back on, and it would drop you off where you started.
That's so creepy.
Isn't that insane? So nobody there ever really saw anything, basically. And he says that the day the U.S. dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, they shut down the factory. Like, they were done. They just closed it all down. Which is insane. And even today, you can, if you go to the town, you can see the old bunkers and all the abandoned factories and stuff. And that kind of leads to another theory about, you know, the origin of Mothman.
Was he, like, radioactive?
Exactly. Like, all of, like, these radioactive materials that could potentially be left behind. Like, does that have something to do with, like, the creation of this, like, weird humanoid creature, you know? Ew. Either that, or I also found, at the time, there are, of course, people who wanted to debunk these sightings. So this man by the name of Dr. Robert Smith, who was an associate professor of wildlife biology at West Virginia University, he said that what these people thought the Mothman was most likely a sandhill crane.
Ew, the fact that he could, like, trace it to some sort of animal still creeps me out.
Exactly.
That, like, a crane was standing in the road.
But, like, I've never...
7-foot tall crane.
Exactly. No, that's the thing. Like, the bird, the sandhill crane, is not found in that area at all. And also the bird itself, its body is, like, 3 to 4 feet tall, and its wingspan can reach 6 to 7 feet.
Not nearly as long as what they were describing.
Exactly. Like, it's nowhere near as big, and it's not even in that area.
That was stupid. Why did you say that?
He thought he was doing something. So this brings me to kind of the last part of the story of Mothman that's really sad. So on December 15th, 1967, which is exactly 13 months after the first sighting of Mothman. All of his sightings stopped when, on that day, an estimated 31 cars and trucks plunged into the Ohio River when the Silver Bridge collapsed. So this bridge, it connected Ohio and West Virginia, and it was during rush hour, and 64 people fell into the water, and 46 died.
Wait, how close is that to... Is it in their town?
Yeah,
the
it's
bridge?
right in town, basically.
That's so bad.
It's really, really sad. And, like, I had never heard that part of the story mentioned at all before looking into it. So people who were there at the time, like survivors and witnesses, they claim that the bridge shook violently before it collapsed. And then other people claim that days leading up to the collapse... Sorry, Stickles.
I know, sorry. Stickles is really making this moment, like, awkward.
They either say that, or some people also say that days leading up to the bridge's collapse, they saw Mothman on the bridge. Which is really, really creepy.
Wait, do they know... Is there any, like, scientific explanation why the bridge fell? Or just gave out?
So it says that a single eye bar, which was 55 feet long, fractured and caused the pin holding it in place to become loose, and that's what set everything off. So it was just poorly built, basically.
Oh. So no one, like, tampered with it?
No. Or not that I found. So basically when this happened, the townspeople didn't want to hear about Mothman anymore. They're like, we're done, like, he doesn't matter. And all the sightings stopped, which is really interesting. And so this kind of leads to another theory, is that people say because of the chronological proximity that the Mothman is related to the collapse of the Silver Bridge. So some people believe that the arrival of him almost kind of served as an omen to warn about the collapse of the bridge, or and like the imminent danger that it posed. And then some people believe the other way around, that his arrival brought this evil curse that caused it to collapse.
Which is speechless.
Insane. It's insane. And then there were more kind of insensitive theories, like the sonic boom of his wings made the bridge collapse. Which is so rude.
I know. They're like making, like, nobody saw Mothman above the bridge, like making a sonic boom.
Yeah. And I even found some people, they tried to go back in history to see if this was like an actual curse put on the town or something. And apparently there was, I forget his name, but the chief of the Shawnee tribe back hundreds of years ago, he was killed in a battle there, and he somehow allegedly put a curse on the town, and like he sent the Mothman or something to like take revenge or something like that. But that was all proven fake because they found like an old playbook in an elementary school where like someone had just written that in to kind of add more. Like,
so it was just,
it's not a real part of the town.
Completely made up. Damn, somebody just wrote it in a playbook and it like became history.
But that's basically it. And then the sighting stopped. And I found one article. Let me find it. This was written back on November 21st, 2016, and it's called Man Photographs Creature That Resembles Legendary Mothman. And I'll put it on screen, but like, this is what was seen basically by this one man who was alone, and he chose to photograph it. Oh, there's a statue.
What is that?
It's really weird.
Wait, what is that?
And you can kind of like, people say, oh, you can see its crooked legs kind of that look insect-like almost or something, but I don't know. It's really hard because in situations like this, you always want to see photographic evidence, but then every time someone presents it, you can't believe it. Really.
Yeah, or it's like that picture, it's just like a silhouette. So,
exactly.
I mean, I think it's more believable than like a photoshopped picture of like an actual Mothman in the sky.
Like, part of me
what
wants
is that?
to believe it. I know, it's really weird. There's another one here somewhere. Where is it? This one? But that to me just kind of
looks more like a bird.
But
it
don't
still
know
looks
what
kind of
this is
big.
about.
I mean, I don't know. We'd have to like look up like silhouettes of birds to like figure out if that's really the Mothman. But it looks like legs, like 2 legs.
I know, it's really gross.
Ugh. Ew, the place is called Point Pleasant. That just like makes it more scary.
But that's basically it for the Mothman. And then I was telling you, now the town really embraces it, so they have like a huge booming tourist industry based around the Mothman. So they have, you know, the museum, they have an annual festival, they have the Mothman Diner, Mothman Cafe. There's just like a bunch of stuff going on there. And then they have the big silver statue of the Mothman in the center of town, which I would love to see more.
I know. We want to take a road trip and visit. That would be really fun.
One day. But that's basically it for me.
All right. I like it. I enjoy sitting here and listening to your story, but then when it's like my turn, I get a little nervous. Okay.
I'm excited for this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit back.
I know, now you get to relax. Let's learn about the Pine Barrens. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the legend of the New Jersey Devil. And so I'm going to start with, if you don't know anything about what this is or what's going on, it is a legend that originates from the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. And it's basically this 1.1 million acre area of forest. Yeah, it's really, really big. I was really shocked when I looked that up. Of pine, cedar, and oak trees. It's like this big forest area. And I read it makes up 22% of New Jersey.
Wow.
And like, it's interesting because New Jersey is the most populated by square foot.
Yeah.
So like, in small areas, we have the biggest population. Not of all states, like not biggest population in all, but like most populated areas. If that makes sense. So, like, this giant piece of land that's pretty much, like, uninhabited is very strange. And it's, like, basically surrounded by a bunch of urban areas.
Is it protected as, like, a national
park? It's definitely protected. Like, you can't cut trees down or, like, start moving onto the land. Like, it's, like, historic land.
Yeah. I was like, why haven't the suburbs touched that yet?
I know, because in New Jersey, like, if you live there, you know, they take over everywhere. Every little piece of land, there's something on it. And, like, we don't really have that many, like, historical sites, so this is our big deal. So, basically, in the Pine Barrens, it started when settlers, like, these rumors and stuff. So, settlers moved there and from Europe in the 1600s. They moved there, and it was a really harsh place to live because of the sandy soil. And there were so many trees, it was so densely packed that it was hard to clear away land, and you couldn't really plant anything. And there were also a lot of swamps there, which I was like, swamps in New Jersey?
Ew.
Like, we have a lot of marshes, but there are swamps in there, which makes it worse.
Ew.
And so...
No offense to New Jersey.
Oh, no offense. Before the Europeans came here, I just want to say that the Lenape tribe was there first, and they were indigenous. And Queen loved them. And basically, so the Pine Barrens, at first, like, it was really hard to live there, and a lot of people moved away at first because they were like, this is uninhabitable. We're going to go somewhere where the weather is better and where we can actually plant crops. And then it started to go up, like, the population, because they found iron there in the ground, and they actually used the iron to make weapons for the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. So, like, it was booming there. Like, there were a lot of towns that were made to have these factories to make the iron and the weapons. But then they found more, like, better iron sources in the West. So people started to move away, and it became, like, ghost town territory. And the people that did stay basically, like, lived in poverty. And I based off of most of this from websites and this book called The New Jersey Devil, or The Jersey Devil by James F. McCloy and Ray Miller Jr. It was really interesting.
Shout out to them.
I know, it was really good, and I actually want to buy this book. Like, it was really interesting about, like, New Jersey history. Mm-hmm. But, so basically they were talking about how the people that did stay basically lived in, like, tents. Like, they were living in, like, the crumbled down, like, houses that were once there, or they were living in tents.
In the 1800s?
Like, no, it was, I mean, maybe 1800s. It's kind of hard to tell in their book. They're more like, here's the basic history. They don't really give dates. It's more like the lore. Mm. And, like, when the people left and the people that stayed, they were called Pineys. Like, that they were just called that as a derogatory like term because they were like poor and other New Jersey people didn't want to like associate themselves with them. It's really weird. I don't know why they would do that.
Like, I don't want to sound rude, but this kind of reminds me of, I mean, I've never seen the movie, but The Hills Have Eyes.
I don't know that movie.
Oh.
Ew, I'm getting scared. Why did you say that?
It's, I've heard about it briefly. I think my mom told me never to watch it. But it's like this, it's kind of the same idea where there's this town, and then up in the mountains, there's an isolated kind of group of people that have much more, like, disfigured features, and because they've been isolated for, like, years and years, and they just kind of know to avoid that area. And then,
well, I don't know about disfigured
people. Exactly. Like, I'm not saying these people
Yeah.
are disfigured, but it reminds me of, like, kind of the same vibe.
Like, creepy.
Like, these people that are kind of shunned. Mm-hmm. To live in this like isolated.
I want to find out more about this part. Honestly, I found that a little bit more interesting than the actual like the legend of the Jersey Devil, because that stuff doesn't really have anything to do with the Jersey Devil, and which I'm about to get to. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what the Pine Barrens are. It's in southern New Jersey, big thing of land of trees, still like that. So the New Jersey Devil.
Here we go.
There are multiple stories, but I'm just gonna say like maybe 3 of them. He's also called the Leeds Devil because it has to do with Mother Leeds and Leeds Point, like this place. Uh-huh. So the first story has to do with Mother Leeds, and she's this woman, and she has 12 children. And she is really like, I can't take care of these children anymore. And she lives in the Pine Barrens, and she's like, I think this happens in like 1730s. And she gets pregnant with her 13th child, and she says, I'm tired of children, let it be the devil. As she didn't mean it, but like she was just cursing, like, curse me, like, I don't want another child. So then when the child was born, some say the child had like deformities, and others say they developed more when the child was growing up. But that's like the basic legend. And then like she was so ashamed of her child because of the way it looked, she hid it up in the attic. And then one day it escaped by flying out the chimney. And that's like the basic, like, overall believed legend. But then in a more like specific story about her, it was when she was giving birth, and it was her labor, and there were other women from the town that were like present during her birth and helping her. And she gives birth, and she's very excited to have this handsome boy. But she's also known to like dabble in sorcery.
Oh my.
Even though she's a Quaker, she's like has some kind of like history of sorcery. That so they say. And all the women in the room watch as the handsome boy starts to transform. And this is what happens. This is what he looks like. So he transforms, and his body stretches out like a serpent. Yeah. His feet are replaced by hooves, and his face becomes bony and elongated like the head of a horse or a goat. It also, this sounds like really gross. Stupid. Like, I'm sorry, but this doesn't sound real. And then it has bat wings and a big tail that's forked. I'm like, that just sounds like they just combined a bunch of different animals, but no shame. Anyway, so this huge creature comes in, and it's bigger than a full-size man, and it looks stronger, like this big, like, horse-like creature with bat wings.
But he transforms in?
Yeah, after
into also a full-size man?
It's as big as a full-size man. Or bigger. That's what the author says.
So he started here.
Like, as a child. And it said, like, his chubby pink face, like, transformed into a horse before their very eyes. So all the women are like, oh my god, what's going on? And their silence is interrupted by a snarl. And I quote, he says that he snarled and proceeded to beat up all the women in the room. He beat up all the women, including the mother leads. And then he flew up the chimney, and he's either rumored to have eaten sleeping children in the town. This is 1735, sorry, not 1900s. 1735, he flew up, ate the sleeping children in the town, or he ate the entire Leeds family.
Oh, so were they not seen after that?
I don't know. This is old, so that's all it says. Like, there's no, like, continuation of what happened after he flew out the chimney.
Girl, it sounded like you were gonna say, as he swooped up the chimney, he let out a huge fart.
No, he did not. He's
might as well
known for
have.
his shrieking, but not farting.
Did you hear any shrieks?
Did I hear it?
Like, did you hear any descriptions of what the shriek sounded like?
Like...
Because the Mothman also shrieks, allegedly.
It just says, like, it shook the night. Like, It really... nothing like you've ever heard before. Oh. But after that, there are so many sightings of New Jersey Devil. According to this particular story, that a clergyman was like, I'm going to exorcise the New Jersey Devil from the forest. And he used a bell, book, and a candle, and he exorcised it for 100 years. And then after that, it said the sightings went down.
The whole woods?
Yeah. I don't know what he did or where he went, but he said by bell, book, and candle.
Wow. Is the book... Wait, does clergyman, does that mean that he was, like, Christian?
I think so.
Damn.
And then that was the end of that story. Mm-hmm. And another story is about the American Revolution. And
here we go.
It's when the British troops were coming through the town of Batstow, I think. Batstow. And they come through, and this town comes up later, like, they saved it as a historical site, and you can actually go visit there, and they have tours and stuff. Ooh. Because it's like an ironworks town where they were making the like weapons and stuff, the iron for the weapons. So the British troops come through, and they have the Battle of Chestnut Neck.
Yeah.
Chestnut Neck. And according to the lore,
Chestnut Neck,
a Leeds Point girl, that this is a place in the Pine Barrens, a girl from Leeds Point, she falls in love with a British soldier. So as like a sign of her like betrayal, her firstborn child comes out as the New Jersey Devil, and he flies away into the night.
Oh my god. That's like... Wait, does that mean there's a second New Jersey Devil? Or that's just another option?
That's just another option. They don't even know which one's real. But the most popular one is the one with the mother leads.
Okay.
These are just other things that people have heard.
Okay.
And the last story I'll talk about is shorter. It's just about this young girl who was walking, doesn't say where, in South Jersey area. Hey. And she was walking, and she sees this gypsy woman on the street, and the gypsy woman is like, please give me food, like, I'm starving. And the girl is so scared of her that she refuses and doesn't give her anything. So the gypsy woman is like, I'm placing a curse on you. Wow. And so the girl who runs away is like, oh no. But she forgets all about the curse because nothing happens. But then when she has her firstborn child, it comes out like as the New Jersey Devil and flies away and goes to the Pine Barrens. And it was first sighted at Leeds Point. So that's why it's called Leeds. Like, everything is about Leeds. Mother Leeds, a Leeds Point. And so basically after no matter how it started, the New Jersey Devil was sighted in the Pine Barrens, and it says that the daily lives of people were ruined by the New Jersey Devil. Like, it would cause havoc to like their crops and cause droughts. And they were like, they're making our cows so they can't produce milk. They're stealing our livestock. The livestock is disappearing.
Oh my god.
And then they also were saying, blowing the tops off the trees. I guess the tops of the trees just blew off. And that also kind of like relates to this specific place. It's called let me find it.
Reminds me of broccoli.
I know. The tops off of the trees. Okay, there's a strange area in the pines called Dwarf Pine Plains. And it's where there's just this really large, like, area of land where you could see for miles that all the trees are really small. They're like dwarf trees.
Oh, that's really
They're like,
cute.
I've seen pictures and they're either like up to your knees or they could be as tall as your body.
What?
But like, the pine trees are not supposed to be that short.
Yeah, pine trees get huge.
Mm-hmm, they're all really small, and it's just really startling to see. So maybe this could be like he blew the tops off of all those trees.
God.
I'm just insinuating. I don't know if that's true. But people also say that this is probably due to the wildfires and poor soil conditions in the area because of the sandy soil. But whatever. I think it's because he blew the tops off those trees. And so anyway, another thing he would do, other than blowing the tops off the trees, is he would get hungry for fish. And he would boil the stream water to cook the fish with his fiery breath. So all the fish would be cooked for him to eat.
Oh my god.
Or, so then all the townspeople were like, there's no more fish in the streams. Or he would kill whatever was in the water with his foul-smelling breath. He would breathe on top of the water and make the fish die. And then another good part was that, I don't know why this said this, but it says, legend has it, is that he sought out a female companion. And he's been known to be seen with a golden-haired girl dressed in white. Like, he wanted a bride.
Girl, I pictured like the New Jersey Devil with lipstick on. Like,
no, it was a woman.
Ew.
Or he's been seen like on the Atlantic Ocean with a mermaid.
Girl, come on. They're having like too much fun.
I know. Somebody made that up. Like, that's ridiculous. This is why I like it though. It's so funny. Okay, so present day.
Here we go.
People still have like small sightings of him. The Jersey Devil. I'm not sure if there are any pictures though. Usually it's like sightings of him flying above the treetops or like screaming, having a blood-curdling scream and shaking people up. And like I said, that one place, the Batstow Village, you can go visit. And it seems really nice. Like all the buildings still look really old and they have like festivals and stuff. Yeah, it seems really nice, but many of the towns from the iron industry are ghost towns, and you can tour them. And they look really cool. It's like abandoned factories, and a lot of homes are not inhabited anymore. And a lot of people go hiking there, because in New Jersey, there's nowhere to really go to see the nature. So.
People go hiking?
Yeah, people go hiking. There's like this really long trail. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like 49 miles long. It's a really long trail. And you go canoeing and kayaking in the streams. It seems really nice. We should go.
It does seem really nice.
I've never been there.
The very streams that he boiled.
Yeah. We'll get killed by his bad breath.
Hot stream.
And I'll end it with my little personal thing was that, okay, in the area, we're pretty close to the Pine Barrens. I'm not going to say how close, but we're close, and we moved to like this area in New Jersey, and in like our 6th grade field trip, they used to take the students, like the whole entire 6th grade, to this place called Mount Misery, and it's like a camp for students to go to. Like you can go like if you're a normal family and stuff like that, but basically they have a bunch of cabins and you stay in there, and it's called Mount Misery, and it's in the Pine Barrens, and it's a nice setting, and they have like activities for you to do, and there's a cafeteria, so it's like a summer camp kind of thing. And our school used to go up until, I don't know, because I just moved there, so I had no idea why, and my brother was in 6th grade at the time, and he didn't know why, because they just changed it. But I remember hearing that it had something to do with someone getting, like, something that had to do with the New Jersey Devil, like, scaring them. So they completely switched the trip to a different area that's not in the Pine Barrens anymore. And I had to go there. So maybe, I don't know, I have to do some digging, but maybe somebody from our school remembers what happened. Exactly.
Wait, is this camp, is it like, it's in a densely wooded area? Like, it's more isolated?
I think it's pretty much in the Pine Barrens. I look it up.
And it's literally called Mount Misery.
Yeah, it's called Mount Misery. Oh.
Wait, but do you know if that campground still exists?
Yeah, you could still go.
Oh, okay.
It says Pineland Center at Mount Misery. You could go camping.
Wow.
Overnight trips, weekend retreats, and week-long camping trips. How do I get there?
Wow.
Oh, here it is. It's on Mount Misery Road, Brown Mills, New Jersey. Pretty sure that's in the Pine Barrens. Yeah.
It's weird because it looked like any other normal summer camp.
I know. I don't know what kinds of activities they would do. Also read something on Urban Dictionary that, like, they have a fake New Jersey Devil that comes out and scares people.
Oh,
but I don't know for sure.
Maybe that happened. Maybe at that school trip, the fake one came out.
And people
like,
complained.
No.
They were like, these kids are too young for that. We're scared. Because I remember when we went to the... Oh. Snookums! Get out of the fire! I remember when we went to the camp, we had this thing where we had to gather around, and when we were in 6th grade, and one of our teachers sung songs and told ghost stories, and then we had to take a walk through the woods. So they were trying to, like, make it a little spooky for you, but they never, like, jumped out and tried to scare you. So maybe they had to dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking someone took it too far and something.
Maybe somebody, it's like one of those stories where at, like, summer camp, somebody, like, went to use the bathroom at night and, like, saw something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, that's crazy.
But yeah, that's the New Jersey. There's so much more, actually, the New Jersey Devil. And there's, like, more sighting, like, specific sightings during historical times after the, like, origin story. But I feel like that's so much. Like, you'd have to read that book. That book's really good. I want to buy it, honestly. There's a lot more.
It's interesting because I like to believe in maybe, like, paranormal stuff. But when it comes to actual, like, creatures like this, like Bigfoot and the New Jersey Devil,
it's kind of like a Bigfoot of New Jersey.
It's a little harder for me to want to believe in that.
Yeah. Like, for some reason, it makes me... I feel like I could believe more in the Mothman.
Exactly. No, like, low-key, like, I kind of, like... I'm a believer.
But for this, like, I have to go back and look because I read the book on the Google Pages preview. And they had, like, 20 pages of it. So that's where I got, like, most of my information. But there were more sightings, like, specific sightings. So maybe, like, if I did more research on it, it would be more believable. Like, some kind of creature in the woods. But they did a X-Files episode on it. And I remember seeing it. About, like, these women who lived in the woods of New Jersey.
And
they were
the New Jersey Devil?
Sort of. They were like... There was, like, the New Jersey Devil, but it was actually just these women who lived in the woods.
Okay.
I don't remember. I saw it when I was young.
But even if, regardless of whether the New Jersey Devil exists or not, the Pine Barrens are still...
They're still creepy.
A really odd place. Like, we were browsing the... Was it, like, the South Jersey Reddit, I guess?
Yeah, and a lot of people have stuff to say.
People, like, that one story was, like, somebody at a gas station in the Pine Barrens, and they just, like, it seems like everybody in that area knows weird stuff just happens in the Pine Barrens. Or there is, I guess, like, weird people there.
And I like the story about how somebody heard a scream from outside his window, and the tree shook for 1 minute straight.
That's in the Pine Barrens?
Yes, he was about the New Jersey Devil. 1 minute straight, the tree shook.
That's so funny.
But yeah, that was it.
That was really good. And we kept it short and sweet today.
10 minutes shorter.
10 minutes shorter. All right. So that's basically it for this episode. But we realized that next Friday, a week from now, is Friday the 13th. So the spooky podcast episodes aren't going to stop here.
We might be in the same setting with the same lighting.
Yeah. And you never know. Maybe something like Friday the 13th, like, we'll conjure something up. We'll summon something.
Maybe more letters will fall off the wall.
Exactly. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You want to give the spiel?
Check us out on social media, on Instagram. I think we're also going to make a TikTok about how we made costumes for our cats.
Yeah, we did.
That was really cute. And we're going to post it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
All of the sources for our information are in the bio.
Yes.
You can check out our website where we sell prints.
Mm-hmm. You want to buy our handmade prints?
Mm-hmm. Woodblock prints.
Like we said, if somebody buys something, we would freak
Oh, yeah.
out.
We're taking... When someone buys something that we don't... Like, nobody has bought anything yet. Just saying. And when someone buys something, we're taking the day off. And we're going to go out to a fancy restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And we're dressing up really nice. I said we're going to dress up in our best outfits.
Exactly.
Because that actually means a lot to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Humble beginnings.
Yeah, we are at humble beginnings for real.
Real humble times.
But I hope everyone enjoys Halloween.
Yeah.
We were talking about how it's sad because we don't really feel like the spookiness of Halloween anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're grown.
And like we don't really we'll figure out something to do. But...
Yeah, tomorrow. Because we have other things to do first. Oh, maybe watch a spooky movie.
Yeah.
Be careful. I feel like you shouldn't be trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Everyone stay safe.
Yes.
And happy Halloween. And that's it.
Okay.
Right. Goodbye, everyone. See you next week.